Let's pretend that it hasn't been 4 months since the last time I uploaded, but we are back. I know it's been a long off season, lots of the same rumors floating around for the 3 month off season, and an unhealthy amount of Ben Simmons news, which I'm hoping we move past soon. But today, I want to talk about something else, which is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have started the season 8-7, which is probably a lot worse than most people expected. Even with injuries to LeBron James, Trevor Ariza, and a ton of other players, there's still been some fundamental issues with the way the team functions. These issues primarily lie on the offensive end, and we've seen Lakers teams in recent years have similar issues. Even in their championship year, we saw these same issues, and that's why today I'm going to talk about the Lakers offense. So to me, there's two fundamental issues with the Lakers offense that both tie into each other. The main one being the lack of meaningful offensive actions and sets that the team runs. This mainly stands out because a lot of the times when the Lakers are on offense, it looks like they're freelancing and that they don't have an actual set to run. For the purpose of shedding light onto this issue, I'll be showing clips from the third quarter of the Lakers vs Timberwolves game where the Lakers got outscored 40-12. This is going to be rough. Anyways, early in the third quarter, the Lakers run this pretty basic set here. Kent Bazemore sets a cross screen for Anthony Davis here, which is basically designed to give AD some separation as he comes across the lane over to catch the ball in the post. The Timberwolves guard this action pretty easily as Vanderbilt fights through the screen and Bazemore doesn't slip out too aggressively to catch the ball for a three. Because of this, the offense devolves into AD taking a tough shot as the shot clock runs out over two people. Now, while the Lakers did run some sort of action on this possession, it didn't result in anything meaningful or a good shot, which has been a common theme with the Lakers so far this season. We're also going to see that when the offense does devolve like this, one of their star players is forced to try and make something out of nothing at the end of the shot clock, and missing these tough shots can get them out of rhythm. This next possession shows the lack of action in the Lakers offense and how it leads to bad shots. After LA brings the ball up the court, we don't see much of any meaningful action except for this pin down from AD, which causes a switch. As Russ dribbles to the wing with the mismatch on him, it becomes apparent that there is no other action going on the floor besides this, and that the other four Lakers are essentially just staring at the ball. And with 10 seconds left on the shot clock, a Russell Westbrook 3 is attempted, and it's a miss. We can also see on this possession the way the defenses shift to guard the Lakers stars on either side of the court. This is something teams have done to the Lakers in the past, knowing that there's a lack of action on the other side of the court. The Suns did this to the Lakers in their first round playoff matchup last year. On this possession, we can see that the defense is rotated over to the ball side where LeBron James has it, leaving a shooter open in the corner. Teams are able to do this because they trust in the fact that they can rotate back to this player who won't be moving due to the lack of action on their side, and are more willing to give this up even if they can't rotate back instead of letting LeBron James or Anthony Davis go one-on-one against their defense. On this possession, LeBron waits for the defense to shift and makes the proper skip pass to the open shooter, but KCP is just unable to knock it down. This is why I said that the Lakers have seen this problem in past years as well, because this particular issue has been a reason for some of their offensive struggles in the playoffs in past years. This simplistic style of offense tries to capitalize on the tilted defense that great offensive players cause. While the Lakers did get some good looks in the series just through this offensive philosophy, I think that their offense would be more efficient if they involved these role players in more actions than just hitting shots after a defense is tilted and they're left open. In the 2020 title run, the Lakers were able to get past this with great transition offense and incredible shot making from LeBron and AD. LeBron and AD's shot making is something that's kind of hard to rely on in this situation because in the 2020 playoffs, both of them were hitting off the dribble shots at a very high rate. Having an elite transition offense, though, is something that the Lakers can still do this season, and I'll get into that a little later. This last position I'm going to show from the Lakers vs Timberwolves game emphasizes the fact that the Lakers' actions are usually pretty simple and don't result in good shots. Normally, if I was told that a Russ and AD pick and roll was going to be run, I would expect a good shot to result out of it, but the way that the Lakers run it usually results in bad shots like these. The main problem here is the way that Russ attacks the screen and the way that the screen is set. The screen is set at the free throw line in the half-court setting without the point guard Russell having a running start into the screen. Russ doesn't look to attack the driving gaps around the screen. Instead, he moves in an east to west direction and takes a pull-up jumper. That plays the exact opposite of the type of action that Russ is at his best in. In pick and roll situations, Russ is at his best when he comes into the screen with a running start and then is given a screen that is at an angle which he can attack downhill after coming off of the screen. Pick and roll actions like the ones we saw in the Timberwolves game for Russ will just result in more Russ pull-up jumpers, which at this stage in his career are not good shots. Now, through these issues, the Lakers' offense is fundamentally flawed, but it's not unfixable, and that's mainly because of all the star power they have on this roster. So let's see how they can fix their offense moving forward. Even through the injury to their best offensive player, LeBron James, and the majority of their offensive possessions looking pretty bad, the Lakers have still had moments where they've flashed what their true potential can be on the offensive end. And that's come through simple but effective actions that maximize the skills of the players they have on their team. The Lakers have struggled on offense to start the season, but they have a lot of players on their rosters here that have versatile and useful skill sets on offense that they need to use to their advantage. On this possession in particular, the Lakers run a horn set with Carmelo flaring out and AD rolling to the basket. This action utilizes both of their skills to create an open shot for the offense. Specifically, putting AD right here and having him roll allows him to take two defenders with him and free Melo up for this shot. Without a screen even being set, Melo finds himself wide open because the defense is forced to commit to AD on the roll. Also, the lineup that LA has on the floor for this set allows for optimal spacing with two shooters in each corner, making it harder for the defense to tag the roller or bring help up to Melo in this situation. LA runs the same horn sets on the next possession with all their players positioned in the same exact places to start. This time, Melo doesn't flare to the other side, but instead steps out to take his defender away from AD's roll. AD slips the screen well, and with Russ coming downhill and AD rolling, the defense is at a disadvantage. Duncan Robinson brings some late help tagging the roller, but at this point it doesn't matter as AD in this position is just too good at catching lobs and finishing them. It's good to see the Lakers offense adapt and capitalize on what happened on the previous possession. The defense stays with Melo this time because he made it through the previous possession, and that opens up AD's roll, in contrast to the prior possession when two defenders stayed on AD when he tried to roll. The next possession, the Lakers run the horn set for a third straight time, and this time Duncan Robinson comes to help early, which frees up Kent Bazemore for a wide open three. Even though Bazemore misses the open three, AD's aggressive roll gives him deep position in the paint, which allows him to keep the possession alive and eventually finish with an and-one. Even though Bazemore misses the shot on this possession, it's just the general principle that a good shot was created off a simple set. Altogether, LA doesn't have to do anything too complex or intricate on sets like these. Just because of how talented their players are, they have skills that they can use and take advantage of that puts pressure on the defense. Another way the Lakers can improve their offensive production, which I touched on lightly earlier, is by increasing the amount of opportunities they get in transition. During their 2020 title run, that Lakers team thrived on transition opportunities, and it helped them stay afloat when LeBron or AD couldn't hit tough shots. They were able to create these opportunities because of their elite defense and their ability to adjust on the defensive end game to game. The Lakers don't have the same defensive personnel that they had in the 2020 season, but I think that once they're healthy, their defense will still be top 10 in the NBA. The only thing that concerns me about the Lakers defense as of right now is their lack of a guard defender or a chaser for when they hedge or play drop, while in previous years they had KCP, Schroeder, or Caruso. Vogel has always been a good defensive coach, so it's hard for me to really worry about things on that end of the court, especially when this team has Anthony Davis and LeBron James. With all that being said, I still think there's a path to the Lakers winning a championship this season. I just think fundamental changes have to be made as far as the team's offensive philosophy goes. Health will be a big factor as well as the season goes on, but we'll just have to see how that works out, as it's something that can't really be controlled. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, and I'm trying to upload more this season, especially since this has been a really interesting NBA season. A lot of stuff has happened so far. I'm going to be making videos on some of the teams that have had a hot start this season, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to subscribe and press the notification bell. With all that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.